My name is Ngina Lithcott. I'm the breast cancer liaison for the Black Women's Health Imperative, which is a national healthcare organization that focuses on the health and well-being of Black women. It is my pleasure to introduce our first panel of today, and it's called Changing the Research Paradigm, Engaging Patients. We have two wonderful speakers. Each is going to speak for 15 minutes, and then after each of them has spoken, we will take questions. I'd like to now introduce the first speaker, Kate Smith. Kate is the professor in the Department of Health, Behavior, and Society in the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. She's a medical sociologist whose research and teaching focuses on how people come to understand their own health. Their own health and health-related experiences. Her area of expertise is communication of health information, and she also has a general interest in identity and its relationship to health. Now she is exploring the quality of life and care coordination for cancer survivors. So please welcome Kate.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Just to let you know, I'm not tweeting my talk as I give it. I'm concerned that I want to leave plenty of time to show you clips of patients talking about, or young adults with depression, talking about their experiences. And in order to do that, I have to limit what I'm going to say about our research. So I'm timing myself. So when this goes off, I shut up if I haven't already, and turn it over to the videos. So good morning. I'm going to talk about hopefully a social movement that in redefining how patients' voices get into research and policy discussions and important arenas based on rigorous research about patients and people's experiences with living with health conditions and caring for people with health conditions. And this is work that that Professor Dickerson and I are in on the ground floor here in the US, but it's built on over a decade of research out of the University of Oxford in the UK and an international movement to try and build this kind of research platform where patients' voices are given priority, and it's not just one or two patients, but it's a diverse portfolio of people's experiences from around the country to help really give a good perspective on what's important to people and what the research community, what the clinical community, what the policy community should be caring about and moving on. So this first slide is really redundant in this arena, but really it's just to establish the fact that if we want to conduct research that matters to patients, we have to prioritize understanding and deep understanding and really rigorous consideration of what's most important to people. And this is something that many organizations are calling for now, and what we recognize is that there's a need to do this not in an ad hoc way, but in an intentional and systematic way. And that's what we are seeking to do through this, what we'll either call health experiences research. Sometimes the international movement is called DIPEX, and to both collect patient experiences, but also to disseminate and share these in a way that is meaningful and impactful in arenas that matter to people. So health experiences research out of the University of Oxford is about doing in-depth qualitative research, interviewing people about their experiences and encouraging people to tell the story of what's happened to them in their own way. And then for the researcher community to pull out key themes in that, to pull things across different patients, different experiences, and to disseminate both individual stories but also collective understandings and commonalities, as well as how different people may have different experiences or different things that are important to them. So health experiences research allows and pushes us to capture a wide range of experiences. It empowers patients by not assuming that we know what questions we need to be asking, but just literally going into people's homes, either turning on a recorder, a video and saying to them, tell me your story. Tell me what's important to you. Tell me what we need to know. I'll ask some follow-up questions, but then it's our job to sift through all of that and to figure out how to make sense of all of that. But ultimately, we prioritize how people tell their story, what's important to them. And we characterize this as moving from a voice to voices, because not everybody has the same experiences. We don't only think that things that are important to everyone are the only things that we have. If it's important to you, you may be only one of a few people that this matters to, but if it really matters to you, it's important that we hear it and that we recognize it and that we think about it. So this approach, as I've already said, is based on a long-standing initiative at Oxford where there's been over 3,000 interviews, and these are interviews that last for a couple hours at least. And there's over 85 different conditions that have been explored with between 30 and 50 individuals in each case, so it's hundreds of hours of people talking about what's important to them that's then distilled and disseminated. And this is the British site, which we are building from, but we're also adapting to a U.S. context and to a 2016 more sort of format. So that's work that is undergoing, that's on way, and it's important to say that in this initiative, patients retain control of how their information is provided and how it's shared. So you'll see videos of of young adults talking about their depression, which is the first module of our network here in the U.S. And people can decide whether to allow themselves to be videoed, to be audio recorded, and then also possibly when it's shared on the website, maybe only just for a transcript to be provided. So that's something that somebody can decide for themselves. They're provided with the transcripts once this has happened, once the data collection is over, and people can redact information or decide that they don't want to share something once they've had some time to reconsider, perhaps. And this is our network of the people who are involved in this here in the U.S. As I've said, this is work that Kay and I are involved in here, but also researchers from Yale, University of Oregon Health and Sciences, and also University of Wisconsin. And the group that has led the first of our modules is out of the University of Wisconsin, and that's what I'm going to share a little bit with you today. They've been, so our first module that's actually launched last week on our website is this depression in young adults. We've also got a module working with the VA about veterans with traumatic brain injury that will be coming out probably early next year, and then a whole host of other work that is either in the works or that we're seeking funding for. And ultimately, I would love to leave today with some ideas from you as to other things that we should be prioritizing as we go forward. So let me, I have at least done my most basic job of getting to where I need to be without going over time. This is our first module, Young Adults' Experiences with Depression. This is one portrayal of these the contributors to this module, and you'll see that there's lots of faces, lots of I guess in some ways people chose different avatars. Some people chose to just have a sort of shadow. Some people actually chose images of themselves, images of like flowers or something, and then many of the young adults actually chose to be portrayed themselves. So I'm now going to take you onto the website. And this is our module, and you can see, it's annoying how it does that when you go over it, but the topics down the side are the themes that that the research team pulled out of all of these interviews. So going public with depression, depression and identity, depression and eating disorders, etc. So these are the things that have been explored in depth. What I'm going to do is just show you 3 different clips from the website to just give you a taste of what this is like. The first clip is a young woman talking about her decision-making about taking medication for her depression. So she has chosen the pseudonym of Nadina, and I'll show you just a 30-second clip of her. This worked. It's going to
I'm kind of worried about any kind of treatment for it because I would prefer not to be on pills. My friend is, and she can't leave the house unless she has something in her system, and it's just kind of sad to watch because sometimes she can't get a prescription for that day, depending on what she's taking. And I just feel like your brain eventually gets dependent on that sort of thing, and then if you can't get it at that moment, it's just not a really fun way to live. I sometimes just try to deal with my issues head on, and sometimes I feel like I'm not strong enough necessarily to defeat whatever issue or resolve whatever issue is going on.
Okay, so that's just one clip. Let me move to some others. So this is another view of the website. This is another way that we present. So if you see down the side here, we have the different groups, different by gender and by age grouping. These are all young adults. And here you see these are the men who are aged 25 and over. So there's lots of different ways that you can look at the information. And this, what I'm going to show you now, is one of the individual profiles of Joey, which is one of the male participants. He was aged 28 at age of interview and diagnosis at 26. You'll see, if you go onto the site, you'll see a wide variety in terms of when people were diagnosed. You see diversity in terms of race and ethnicity and area of the country, etc. So it's a small sample it's about 35 individuals, but people were selected to be a diverse sample. And now what I wanted to show you here is just a little clip of Joey talking about the difficulty in coping with tasks of everyday life.
I don't understand. I hear you say these are the difference. Isn't the memory?
Okay, sorry about that. Here you go.
Eating properly, like healthy and regularly, which I'm still working on, but I mean, like, I just pretty much checked out of like all those things. Like, I mean, I don't know, I just was like unable to take care of responsibilities, and then that kind of just snowballed out of a factor to the point where it's like, just wake up in the morning and you're just like, I don't know what, no, this is not happening. I was treating myself like crap. Like, every thought I had about myself in my head was a negative thought. I didn't exercise at all. Rarely ate. Like, I mean, I ate a meal a day, maybe, and it was, not that, full of nutrients or that good. Just didn't believe that, like, really anything was possible. Like, room looks like crap, like, bed was never made. Having a job, even like a crappy one, which...
Okay, so those are just two really brief snippets of just two of the contributors about aspects of that they chose to share about their depression. The last clip that I'd like to show you, I mean, it's really not in any way possible to do justice to these voices in just 5 minutes, but the last clip I wanted to show you is a montage of various different young adults responding to the question of why they chose to contribute to this project and why they were a part of it. And I think it hopefully speaks to the fact that what we think that this contributes is that you're hearing voices from people who would never have the capacity or never have the confidence or to be a part of an advisory panel or to be the one voice. But in this way, they're one of many voices, and it's contributing in a way that makes sense to them. So this is where I will end. Okay. And this one's a little bit longer. It's about 2.5 minutes.
I really think that there's someone else out there that probably has the same issue that I'm going through. And if I could help them, if this is anything worth to them, if this can stop them from doing something self-destructive, then that makes me feel better about myself. That makes me less depressed because I'm helping someone that's in the same situation as me.
If you can get a resource like this, where you have people that describe their symptoms, that describe how it affects their lives, that is incredibly important. Depression is very individualistic in how it presents and why it presents. So to have another resource out there for people like me that are afraid of talking to their family or that don't have friends that can help them, this is going to be very important in their journey of control over their illness.
Sharing people's experience of what that looks like or how that feels could create a lot of compassion and understanding for people who are afflicted by depression. And that was something that I wish I would have gotten, because I think that if my friends, like through college, who had known my history of abuse and trauma, I do believe that if they were actually really understanding of what of what it felt like to go through depression, then instead of stigmatizing it, then I probably would have gotten treatment sooner, maybe, or I would have, and maybe I would have healed a little bit faster.
If this helps somebody out in some way, that's great. And I think that that's like pretty much what motivated me to do it, because I guess I'm just kind of tired of it being a silent issue. I would love it if people were more vocal about it, because I think that's where solutions happen. So, yeah, I mean, I know I am a private person, so this has been pretty not, something I would normally do, but I think it's good to kind of open up.
Okay, so thank you. I just wanted to end by saying that, again, we wanted to bring voices in that wouldn't be heard through other engagement activities. Not to say that those aren't important, but we think this is also important. And encourage you to take a look. This was just an opening of hopefully a longer discussion. Take a look at healthexperiencesUSA.org. Thanks very much.
Thank you. And we'll have lots of time for questions after we finish hearing. Peter Doshi is an associate editor at the BMJ and assistant professor of pharmacy